gateway to money, but it's not easy.
Therefore, the question.
Therefore, the question.
Yes.
It's definitely not easy.
All right, we're going to be live.
Okay.
A very good evening to everyone. Today, I'm Meenakshi Tomar, faculty at Jindal Global Business School, is having great pleasure in introducing Mr. Jaideep Jaiman, who's with us for the 5th Masterclass on future career roles in business analytics. Well, we all know that many of us are targeting business analytics as one of the career options. However, there remain a lot of questions that remain unfold with respect to career, with respect to aspirations that we would like to meet. So today we have with us somebody who is absolutely seasoned, experienced, and has not only just having a hands-on experience in business analytics, but has also been instrumental in founding 2 of the startups. I would take a moment to introduce our guest speaker for today's masterclass with us. So Mr. Jaideep Jaiman is currently the Vice President, Analytics and Digital Transformation of V-Mart. He is responsible for developing and executing V-Mart's digital strategy and transformation program with an additional emphasis on advanced analytics and artificial intelligence and machine learning interventions. He is from the first graduating batch of IIM Rohtak. And through most of his 14 years of experience, he has worked with top executives of various firms as a management consultant. His work included retail excellence, analytics, strategy, and financial modeling. However, an engineer from early education and experience, he recently founded 2 startups, one providing advanced analytics, artificial intelligence and machine learning support services, and other, a video artificial intelligence operating system and app store. We welcome you, sir. And before we go further with our questions, let us just have a glimpse on what motivated you to pursue a career in business analytics.
So thanks, Meenakshi, and thanks everyone else who's joining right now in this masterclass. To look at the motivation, I think till 2018, when I was that was the time when I was having my first startup. I was working in my first startup. Till that time, I had no inkling that I'll possibly do analytics. Okay, I was doing analytics. I was doing financial modeling. I was doing a lot which you can put into the basket of analytics and purely related to mathematics. Okay, but I had no inkling that I would do business analytics. It was when I was pitching our product to V-Mart that Mr. Lalit Agarwal said that Mr. Lalit Agarwal, who's the CMD of our company and founder of the company, he said, you guys are pretty strong in business analytics. That is when we realized whatever we were producing was just very good in terms of business analytics. That's when I founded the second firm, which was into advanced analytics. And then we saw the need of AI and ML as well, because top executives were asking what you can do in AI and ML. Where can it go further? Okay, how it can be automated? Okay, whatever you're saying. That is when I actually started a different company and then finally got into analytics. So that's what my journey is. I think I was doing analytics all the while because I was really, really interested in maths, but I labeled it in 2018.
So, but I'm sure that you are absolutely enjoying what you're doing.
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, a lot of us prepare for IIT, and many of us get into it. Many of us get into some other good colleges, but that particular cusp in our lives kind of prepares us to be very mathematical. So I used to love solving math problems, and I kept doing anything and everything that was involving maths. So even after my MBA, I gravitated towards things like management information systems and then analytics, and discussing those things with the top leaders, all that. And finally, I came down upon, okay, fine, this is what it is called, analytics now. So let me be an analytics guy.
Lovely. That's truly an inspiring experience and your journey that we can sense. And I'm sure that, once we fell in love with what we do, I think that is one motivation which each one of us should take as a key takeaway from your journey. So moving further, I have a couple of questions that we've received from the participants of the previous masterclasses who have raised queries with respect to career and roles in business analytics. So the first question that we have over here is that we all have witnessed the growth in business analytics and the opportunities offered in the sector. Can you brief us on the early entry roles here? What are the key skill sets that are required at an early entry stage?
So at an early stage, I would say, I think people just call you an analyst. Okay, the early role is just an analyst. Okay, now saying it's just an analyst is not enough, because I have seen people who are into equity research who are called analyst, and we are very proud of being called analyst for like 25, 30 years. Okay, so pretty senior people, very well respected people. People want to hear them, and they are called analysts. Okay, so I think it's a very rare profession, a rare thing to see, that you start with the analyst and you end with an analyst. Okay, it's just the so as an analyst, um, if I'm saying that you start with an analyst and end with an analyst, what is it that happens in the middle? How do you grow? Okay, that would be the question. Um, and it has a very interesting answer. It is something that I have learned while interacting with so many people, and coming to respect many of them. Is when you hear these analysts talking, that is when you kind of are humbled. Okay, and that is what they have gained in experience. Okay, so you do start with an analyst, a title analyst, and you might keep it for as long as possible. Okay, you may be called senior analyst, and possibly a consultant, and then possibly these are typical roles in an analytics company. You may be called associate, then you may be called associate consultant, or maybe a full consultant, and then manager, senior manager, and things like that, and then eventually a partner. Okay, so typically a consulting kind of a hierarchy is also followed in analytic companies, but you do start as a title called analyst. Now, what are the specific things that people start with? The first thing you need to start with is you need to have certain necessary skills. You need to be hands-on to at least Excel. Then Python, R, Python or R, one of them you can go with. So at least these three things you should be knowing. Earlier it was just Excel, but now it's Python and R as well. So you need to be knowing at least these three things to just have a foot in the door. Okay, and start your work as an analyst. Because if you don't have them, if you haven't done enough work on it, enough practice, you haven't had enough practice on it, the first day you will start folding, and then you will start hating the subject. Okay. And for those who don't know these tools and kind of peer programming or something to do with Excel sheets, good news is that you can always figure it out. These are pretty simple tools. Python is basically English. That's why Python was created as a simple coding language. Okay, so it's basically English, simple English in which you can write your pseudocode. This is called pseudocode. So and Excel is pretty easy. Also, you can always search for formulas online and just pick it up while you're doing it. So it's pretty simple. These skills are definitely needed.
So precisely, technical acumen needs to be there, or excitement to get and dive into technical acumen is definitely what we look at here.
Yeah, because on the first day you need to deliver something. You need to start showing the promise at least.
Correct.
And then one very important thing I think I have been realizing these days is that people focus too much on learning just Python and R.
Correct.
But there is a value in Excel also.
Right.
Because on an Excel you are able to think along with it. Okay. And when you are able to think along with it, what happens is you kind of develop an aptitude for analytics. So aptitude is a core thing which you may not develop if you just focus too much on technical. But these two things need to go hand in hand, but aptitude first. So I'm sure as a entrance examination, you guys have sorted it out.
Yes.
So I was taking it as a given.
Lovely. So moving ahead, what is the importance of acquiring? I'm sure you've already highlighted some of these. The technical certifications as being offered by prestigious institutions like IBM, SAP, Amazon Web Services, as one seeks acceleration at an early stage here, because what we have sensed is that a number of times, whenever we've interviewed any early career stage aspirant in the program, they would definitely want to see how can they go online and acquire something from it. Does that play a vital role?
See, I mean, I interview candidates almost daily. And there are certifications and there are people with no certifications. What a technical certification would give you? A technical certification would give you the technical skills that you can employ immediately.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is only one heads up that you will get. Okay. But developing it through experience, the aptitude that you need to develop it through experience. So you not only need some certifications, you also need some internships.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you definitely need to get into it and look at a problem. What is the problem you're solving?
Right.
So in the startup culture also, this is something that is reiterated a lot of times. What is the problem that you're solving? Right. So for an analyst, it's a day in and day out job. As in, the morning starts with the problem I'm solving, and I'm just trying to figure out what are the parts of this problem. Okay. So that kind of aptitude is must. You will have technical certification, but they will only give you one thing. They will make you use a tool. That's it. Okay. But you need to have you need to be working on some problem that's a real business problem. Only then you will have this aptitude of it, or maybe even any good at using those tools.
Lovely.
And another thing, it's very important to choose what technical certifications you want to have. Okay, so just giving you a sneak peek into it. One, you definitely need to have this R, Excel, and Python. Okay, these three things you definitely need. You may get a technical certification for it. You may just read it, just try to code something in it, pick up a problem, go onto these sites like uh, I'm forgetting Kaggle, where you can have some ranking for yourself and things like that. So these sites are very useful. They give you some questions. They also give you some data, okay, and strengthen up your profile. But then there are other set of tools like um, there will be tools in SAP stable, there would be tools in IBM stable, there would be Tableau, there will be Power BI. Okay, Power BI and Tableau are visualization platforms. IBM would train you on their set of tools. SAP would train you on their set of tools. There is Alteryx. They will train you on their set of tools. Okay. All these tools are fine, but the company you are getting into, the organization you are getting into, do they use these tools? Okay. That is one. Or and the people who, so SAS is also one big analytics tool. So the, these kind of tools are usually used by large organizations. Okay, they have gone one technical way, and they are just choosing, and they obviously switching technologies in an organization is a costly decision, so they don't switch. Okay, my suggestion would be that you should just pick up Python and R, and then one visualization tool like Power BI or Tableau, or even both, and just get on with it, because what your end organization would be using wherever you are employed would may be different. Okay, you should be able to just have this bandwidth of freedom to kind of pick one out of the technologies that your organization is using. That's my take.
That's an excellent input. In fact, just for the sake of viewers who are watching this masterclass live, so you rightly pointed out that application through internships is essential. But this program is not offering normal internships. We are emphasizing on action learning projects, which precisely are real life situations which they should get exposed to. They should implement their learning from the classroom, from the workshops there. So it's a continuous process that has been embedded in the curriculum which Jindal Global Business School is offering in its curriculum. Now, moving forward, there are many programs offered in business analytics in the country. What are some of the factors that you as a recruiter consider while picking these candidates from business analytics background, given the curriculum that they have been exposed to? Are there any gaps that you feel still prevail in their performance despite this degree acquisition?
So, what we look for, I think we have designed a recruitment program, or a set of rounds to say how to recruit analysts. Okay, and I have been using that to recruit analysts or entry level positions, fill entry level positions since 2016, when I started the first startup. We focus on conceptual clarity. So, and why we focus on conceptual clarity is because there is no way of knowing, if you don't have have some experience, whether you are whether you would be good at a particular role. Okay, but there are a few things that will make us clarify whether you are good for it or not. Number one thing, everybody absorbs knowledge. So in college, everybody absorbs information and knowledge. Okay. how do you process it and distill it into concepts, is something you will have to do day in and day out when you are an analyst. Okay. So, have you ever done it? This is what these conceptual questions would clarify to us. Okay. And I have had a very simple conceptual question just about averages. Okay. And I have seen data scientists of like 10 years of experience and educated abroad not being able to answer it, and consultants not being able to answer it. Because that's how it is. We just talk about averages, we never understand averages. Okay. So for me, conceptual clarity is very important because one, it tests how you process this knowledge and information that was ever given to you and understood it really well. Okay, that's how the insights will come out. And second, um, th- there is something that I look for in almost everyone, and I try to train the teams that I lead in art of figuring it out. Okay, we call it art of figuring it out. And we say you are given a problem in the morning, you try to solve it by the evening, even if you have done nothing like it ever, because you should have art of figuring it out. Okay, I cannot give you all the knowledge in the world, but Google can. Okay, but do you know how to ask the right queries? You know how to go into the forums, um, uh, ask some technical query if it's Python or R, understand the right libraries and things. Do you have the aptitude to break down the problem? So what happens is, once we have tested people on the conceptual clarity, we know not only he has this good understanding of distilling the knowledge, he also has, he or she also has art of figuring it out, because nobody nobody can teach that conceptual clarity.
Correct.
People can only give you knowledge and information,
That's
but the conceptual clarity only comes after you have struggled your way and try to figure it out, whether how does it sit into your mental model. Okay, so this is the core thing that I look for. Okay. um, and yes, definitely this approach has a lot of gaps. One of those gaps was skill sets, as in hitting the ground running, which is people did not have technical capability, as in the technical certifications that we were talking about, Python, R, and Excel. We plugged that by having live tests. So if somebody has cleared the conceptual round, we give them a write up. They are supposed to write it, do an internet research, and come back with the write up. And that write up is conceptual enough. Then we take them to a second round, which is a programming or a real live um, business analysis round, in which they either are on Excel sheet or on R, they're screen shared with us, and we look at how they are doing it. Okay. So the technical skill sets are tested, and then in the final round, we try to understand the attitude of the person, okay, mental makeup of a person, because analytics is a high pressure job. It's not easy. People will or business professionals inside will give you I want to know this, I want to know this. Okay. But they have no way of knowing whether what they are and how they should be looking at particular data. Okay. And it's a lot of EDA, exploratory data analysis.
correct.
Okay. So when you do a lot of EDA, then you possibly hit the right place. Okay. And that's where you have the insight. Okay. So sometimes you have to work under tight timelines. Okay. The expectation is okay, fine. The answer would be just there. Okay. But maybe you have to struggle hours for it.
Correct. I mean, this is one interesting insight that you've given to us. It definitely offers a bouquet of preparatory elements that a candidate must undergo in order to assume working with a reputed organization? Because at the end of the day, organizations are not sitting to compromise, right? And one wrong recruitment today can cost very high. As it is, the cost of hiring and acquiring a candidate itself is going up and up. And having the right skill set itself is very, very important.
So cost of recruiting candidates is, you are right. You are right in saying that it's still high and everybody is worried about it. But more importantly, the time that is lost into hiring the right candidate, it's really costly. Yeah. So that's the most important decision I make in my day-to-day life.
Now that you've already highlighted what are the skill sets that you are looking at as a recruiter while you are hiring candidates, what are the factors that one should bear in mind with respect to expectations while choosing a career in business analytics? As you know, some say that it's a gateway to easy money. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's definitely a gateway to money, and there is no doubt about it. It is a highly sought after profile on most job portals possibly, and a lot of people are getting into it. Whether it's a computer science graduate, whether there are art graduates, there are lawyers, there are CAs. Almost everybody is getting into analytics. Everybody who has talent and who has aptitude and loves mathematics get into it. Okay, some sort of quantitative aptitude is needed. Now, but it's not easy. That's what I want to highlight. One should be prepared to do simple EDA exploratory data analysis before you claim to do advanced analytics or AI or ML or some. These are mostly, as much as I have been into startups, these are mostly marketing terms these days.
Correct.
People try to attach AI and ML to normal software systems also. Okay, and sell it in that manner. But more than that, I think this is a profession of rigor, and you need to have an eye whether the data is correct or not, like a chartered accountant would have. Right. You need to have that kind of an eye. And chartered accountant is, by the way, no easy job. It's a very tough job.
Absolutely.
Okay. Getting to understand whether this number is right or wrong, and then you just toil your entire night into whether this particular thing got wrong or that particular thing got wrong. It's a tough job. So not only you need to have that, you also need to have that kind of a aptitude or ability to figure out, go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and possibly pull multiple types of data, put them together, and try to see the insight. So it's a rigorous job. There is no doubt about it. But the people who have cracked it, who are in for the love of it, then they not only have the kind of money they are looking for. Money is a byproduct. That's what I mean to say. So if you love your job, you will love your job so much that you'll possibly not even think about what is the kind of money I'm getting.
Got it. I mean, I'm sure that the message is very clear to us. So it is about money, but it is purely not about money, and it is definitely not easy money. So in order to build onto that, one requires that rigor, motivation, passion to just dive into what is exactly business analytics and how different it is.
And here I want to add something, actually. I think a lot of people are driven by money. Correct. But it's very important for institutes like you to kind of instill some sort of values also in people and say that your life shouldn't be about money.
Correct.
Your profession shouldn't be about money. Your motivation should be about the passion and the rigor and the love of the subject. Okay. And eventually, money is a byproduct.
Absolutely. And Mr. Chairman, I would definitely like to emphasize at JGU, we believe in creating values that drive the communities, that drive societies, where we are putting ourselves later, but we are putting communities, we are putting organizations first. Now that you've already highlighted on what kind of expectations recruiter should have, what kind of acumen a candidate should have, number of candidates would always aspire to get into leadership roles. Somebody who's reading management as it is versus somebody who's getting into a leadership role in business analytics. What sort of different roles you see, what kind of different training you see in there? So are there any specifics that you would like to highlight if somebody is imagining themselves to be into a leadership role in business analytics versus something which is very plain?
So, I mean, I think very long back, even though I did not do analytics, I thought that I have pretty much cracked it. Okay, I'm pretty good at it. Okay, but being an analytics leader is a different problem to solve. Okay, I don't know how good I am at it. I'm trying to be good at it every day. Okay, and every day I learn that okay, not enough. Okay, but there are some learnings I can share. I cannot claim to say that I can tell you or participants that how to be a leader. But yeah, there are some things, some problems that an analytical leader faces, and there are some skills that are needed over there. So I think number one thing an analytical leader would face is that right now you are not doing analysis yourself. So when you are doing exploratory data analysis or financial modeling or any some sort of analytics, you don't have to articulate things a lot. You are going with, so you're doing a long night's work, but you're having that fun. You're not articulating it to somebody. Okay, that this is how you should be doing. This is the approach you should be taking, or get deeper into it. By did you look at this particular side of it? And so verbalizing your mental thought process is a huge challenge, because the amount of work that you guys are doing or an analyst is doing trying to figure out something, it's very tough and deep. Okay, and it involves a lot of data. It involves a lot of nuances, arguments, hypotheses. Okay, so having a keen eye of observation in that data is one thing that you will develop with conceptual clarity. Okay, but verbalizing it to somebody else, it's a very tough task.
Correct.
Okay, and I learned it. I think I somehow picked it up. Okay, while presenting my cases to as a consultant when I was doing presentations and my cases to uh, clients and internal teams, and all, like I kind of picked it up. But it's a tough thing to do. I think I'm not. I can be better. Okay. So that is number one thing, because you need to articulate it to your team. Okay, and then asking pointed questions, because whatever they may be doing, they might get into a rabbit hole. Okay, so keeping them onto tasks, keeping them onto the right focus, asking them pointed questions. Okay, so you might say this is the problem you have to work on. The person has started working on that problem. And then after 2 hours or 3 hours, you come back and you say, okay, what are you doing? And they will say, yeah, we are trying to figure out this stuff. We are looking at this data and all that. That's not enough, because you need to keep probing. Okay, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're getting into? How would you check this? How would you arrive upon this conclusion? Okay, so you need to go deeper in those conversations. So you cannot just walk past and say, okay, fine, are you working on this problem? No. So it's not just about checking people that they are doing the job. It's about working with them.
Correct.
So an analytics leader um, cannot just uh, be a leader in his presence. He also needs to be with the people when they're solving the problems. Okay, because directing people is requires a lot of mental bandwidth over there. That is another skill that is needed on and then very importantly, um, stakeholders, trying to make stakeholders. And so right now you're trying to make people understand who know some bit of analytics. Okay,
Right.
but people who don't know analytics or who don't have the aptitude for it, how do you explain them? How did you arrive upon a conclusion and it's a bankable uh, conclusion, and they need to run with it? And not only they need to run with it, they will have loads of cash if they run with it. Okay, company will make money. Okay, so convincing people is I think that is one thing that will stand uh, in the way of anybody who's trying to be a leader. Articulating and convincing people.
Amazing.
That is very important.
For my next question, you've already given one food for thought, which is about creating value system, which is about imparting the fact that it's not just about money. It should not be about money, but it should be about passion. What are your suggestions to business schools while curating a curriculum structure for a postgraduate degree course in business analytics? What are some of the must-haves that you would definitely insist on within the curriculum?
So I think one thing that is a must. I'm only talking about knowledge, not in terms of value systems or conceptual clarity, but
right.
in terms of information that you need to impart to young students is uh, uh, understanding financial statements. First thing, because it is business analytics, the business is the first word. You will learn about business the most as an analyst, okay, not as a person who's into operations and sales, but as an analyst, you will learn most about a business or most relevant things about the business if you know your financial statements really well. Balance sheet, cash flow statement, income statement. Income statement is the thing, and then balance sheet and cash flow statement. So at least these things people should have really understood. And it doesn't mean, I mean, if I say understood, it's not just like going through and knowing, okay, fine, these line items are there. You should be actively looking at financial statements of multiple companies.
Correct.
Okay, because when you know, when you do that, you get to know how each of these companies are different. Okay,
that's right.
What happens in possibly pharmaceuticals, why their business statements would look, financial statements would look very different from retail, from hotels, from hospitals, from possibly manufacturing industry, petrochemical plant or something. Okay, so you need to know your financial statements really well. That is one. Second thing, you need to have mathematical aptitude for it, and to have mathematical aptitude for it, you need to really understand financial modeling and structural modeling very well. So there is something called structural equation modeling, uh, and financial modeling is a little bit like that. Okay, So ultimately, what you do is you have you try to construct a mathematical model for something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in a financial model also, you're trying to construct a mathematical model for something, but those equations are pretty much set. Okay,
Right.
but in structural equation modeling, you are trying to model the phenomena or something into a mathematical equation. Okay, examples of it would be something like a Black-Scholes formula,
Mm-hmm.
or Nash's equilibrium. Okay,
Right.
so have fun with these concepts. Okay, get in deep into it, understand a lot more into it. Okay, game theory, option pricing. Um, I mean, they're tough things, but they're fun things too. Okay, you would have plenty of time as a student, and you would. I mean, if it's a residential program, people should get into this. So it will train your mathematical acumen. Okay. Uh, and then lastly, I would say that people should participate in something where they compete. Okay, be it Kaggle, be it some financial modeling competitions, or be it some analytic competitions, whatever. You try to compete. Okay, because then you will be kind of be able to understand where do you stand, how others think. You will be able to communicate. Okay, compete in teams. You would be able to communicate and articulate what you're trying to analyze and things. I think these are my 2-3 bits to it. I think curriculum there is a lot, but I think these are the most important things I wouldn't want anybody to miss.
Great. So, in fact, when we talk about exploring career options, of late we've also seen in the media that young generation wants to go overseas, acquire degree overseas with a charm of working overseas. If not acquiring a degree, but at least they look at a career option overseas where they would want a job. Do you think that business analytics offers some sort of opportunities overseas to Indian students?
So, number one, I think uh, in every age, people wanted to go outside. So,
Correct.
outside their own country, it's not just this age. But yeah, I think in technical fields it was much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was much easier. It's not now. Okay, um, developers and technical experts, engineering experts, they always were called outside, or maybe sent from IT services firms. In business analysis, um, these opportunities are always there. It's not that these opportunities are not there, especially in the AI, ML, and advanced analytics side of it. Okay, there are a lot of such opportunities, but very recently there's a opposite trend.
Mm-hmm.
That is hybrid workforce. Okay, companies hire you, and you work remotely for companies in US, Europe, Australia, Japan, and all sorts of places. Okay, so it's not so much about the profession in general. It's more about the times that you're living in.
Mm-hmm.
But opportunities are far more on the advanced analytics, AI and ML side of it, and algorithmic side of it, rather than on regular business analytics.
Great. I mean, that again leads us with a food for thought that in case if we do believe in building up a career, then at least there are certain subfields which are available within the business analytics. Mr. Chairman, now that we are just going to the fag end of this session before we open up for a Q&A, what are some of the career roles that people can look at in business analytics? Of course, we know that an analyst is known as analyst, but what apart from that are some of the roles that our students can aspire?
So I think uh, what you are essentially asking is, um, what are the different kinds of roles which are there within business analytics. Okay, so I would try to identify as much as possible. First, there are I would say the type of organizations and the sectors that you work in. That is what defines that difference. Okay, you may get into pharma sector and be an analyst in that sector. You may be in let us say travel and hospitality, possibly in that sector. So industry defines which in which industry you are a business analyst. Okay, so that is one. Secondly, if you are in a consulting company, um, especially in the analytics field, companies are a bit specific, and they usually have specializations around industry. So let us say ZS Associates is pretty good around pharma consulting and hence pharmaceutical analytics. Okay, and Dunham it's a retail consulting firm, biggest retail consulting firm, and it's pretty good in retail analytics. Okay, so analytics firms essentially gravitate towards industries. Okay, so what I feel is that um, which industry you represent, which industry you get into, define um, your career as an analyst. That is number one. Number two is then there is business analyst, there is data analyst, and then there is a business analyst which has nothing to do with data. Okay, so or a financial analyst. So one is business analyst, regular business analyst who would be looking at business problems and trying to work through those business problems, looking at dashboards and things, developing dashboards. Another is called a data analyst. I think both the roles are similar. It is just that the expectation from data analyst is not so much of a business acumen. Okay. Every business analyst usually works with a top professional or an executive. If you are good, then you usually become part of that team. And data analysts are sometimes not expected to have so much of business acumen, but technical acumen is much better. Okay. Technical understanding, data engineering part is much better. Then other business analysts which have nothing to do with data are do something on the process side or understanding the requirements. So let us say a company wants to buy some software, right, or there is a client, you are supposed to understand his requirements. Then those kind of roles are also called business analysts, wherein you kind of collect and understand those requirements, map them with what is it that you have available, or possibly place them in the right product roadmaps and things like that. So that is requirements, a requirements analyst. There would be another which will be trying to understand business processes and trying to rationalize. Okay, fine, there is some redundancy in this business process. How can I simplify it? Okay, so those kind of roles are also there. So there is a whole spectrum of roles in business. Okay.
All right. Let's just now dive into the Q&A round where our participants have already listed a couple of questions. So I'm just going to pick them one by one. One of the participants has asked, what is the role of data translator or translator in business analytics? Can you shed some light on this?
Data translator. Okay. To me, I'm getting informed here. Okay, that is number one. Whatever the title suggests me, I think it could be about there is a unique or a key thing in the entire data journey, and that is to understand what that data means.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let us say there is a particular column,
Mm-hmm.
but you have absolutely no idea what that particular column is.
Right.
Okay, that problem is usually solved by data catalogs.
Mm-hmm.
So enterprise-wide data if enterprise-wide data is there, it is kind of cataloged into a data catalog. Okay. So what that particular means is usually a particular column means is usually you will find in a data catalog. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But many of the organization, or let us say 80-90% of the organization, are haven't structured their data so well to put it into a data catalog or something. Okay.
Right.
So understanding and then there are masters of data, as in data masters are there, which kind of define what items are there, what is their item information, the things you are selling. Something is so let us say you're selling something, you need to have information about that particular item.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be an item master. You are present at a particular location, then you need to have information about that location, then you'll have a location master. Okay. So I think a data translator would definitely be somebody who's in control of this particular aspect of data.
Mm-hmm. Got it. The next question that we have is the participant says, "Dear sir, I have already completed my MBA in HR already, and this supposedly is going to be my second degree. How do you think I can utilize my earlier degree also while looking at a career in business analytics?"
Please come again. Which degree?
MBA in HR.
MBA in HR. Okay. I think it's a same question was asked by a person who was working with me in my organization, and he was working as an analyst in our HR function. Uh, and uh, and and I told him, see, I would have been unclear about this question, but you have played this role so well that I know now what an analyst in an HR function would mean. Okay, so uh, you may be unsure of it, that being an MBA in HR, can you get into business analytics? Of course you can. There is actually a very crucial role HR has to play in terms of business analytics. Okay, if somebody who has good analytical capabilities is there in HR, they can play a pivotal role for the organization. And I would say that would be centered around the way you define KRAs and KPIs in that particular organization.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So firstly, what you're doing is you're going an outside-in approach. You are trying to understand, I would have these particular KRAs and KPIs, and we are possibly tracking them monthly or quarterly, and organization will finally reach a particular place. So in an outside-in approach, you're kind of defining it first, but then you see that in action, and then you know how those metrics have possibly steered the organization or individual in a particular direction, while in the while the intended direction could have been a slightly more nuanced in a different side. Okay.
Absolutely.
So it's a very I would say tough thing to do, number one, and it's a very rewarding thing to do for an organization. For an organization, this is the most important part, to steer the entire organization into a particular direction and be effective and efficient in that particular field. And metrics and data would help us do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you definitely have a future if you look at it from that lens.
Okay. Thank you very much for responding to that question. And we just want to take one last question here. It says, dear sir, do you think that given the fact there are so many institutions which are currently offering the programs, one can still look forward to a number of opportunities in the future also?
Yes, I think same thing happened with engineers and doctors. Okay, there are so many institutes which are giving you engineering degrees. There are so many institutes which are giving you doctorates. Okay, so it doesn't mean that because there are so many people doing that particular thing, it may not be that rewarding eventually down the line. Uh, See, there is definitely a need for it.
Yes.
Okay, and I mean, you need to be good at something. So why
Absolutely.
not this? Okay,
Yes.
if this is what you love, you need to be good at it. Okay. So it's just that this shouldn't be a factor to kind of decide what you do. Okay, that others are doing it. The calling should be inside.
Absolutely.
If you are doing it because others are doing it, and I should, or the other way around, I shouldn't do it because others are doing it. I think you are looking at it from a wrong lens. You should be doing it because you want to do something mathematical, something analytical, something conceptual. Yes.
And I would just like to add on to what you said. Uh, the participant, whosoever has asked this question, I think we've got a live inspiration, a live example setter with us as a speaker. I think Mr. Jaideep Jaban, as I introduced him, I did tell you that he is the founder of 2 startups. So why to think of opportunities from a third organization? Why can't we generate our own opportunities ourselves? And I think,
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, you've brilliantly done that. And your organizations are also thriving towards success with the kind of passion that you're driving them with. So I see you as an inspiration to the generation out here who's looking forward to acquiring this degree, not with an approach of getting a job, but with an approach of curating your own career with the set of aspirations and passion that one should have with their own self, rather than asking the industry what the industry can offer, essentially. So coming to the end, Mr. Jaideep Jaman, one last thought, one food for motivation that you would like to give to all of us over here.
So rather than motivating word, I would uh, have my last word as something I really want most of us to do, and that is um, whatever information and knowledge you absorb, um, please understand the core concepts properly, because you would be taking up 1 year of course, and there would be a lot of knowledge that would be important. If you employ yourself um, towards conceptual clarity, I think my time here is utilized. I have done my justice.
Thank you very much for giving this important thought that we must all bear in mind. Uh, to close this event, I would definitely like to emphasize on the fact that Mr. Jaideep Jaman, this has been one of the most wonderful sessions that I've attended. Your thoughts, your motivation has been inspiring. Whatever insights you've given definitely leave us with some thoughts to live with. They not only presented clarity, but they have also given us reasons to think of our passion, to think of our values, and to think of doing something that we like rather than something which is being offered by so many other institutions in the country. I, on behalf of Jindal Global University and Jindal Global Business School, would like to place heartfelt gratitude for accepting our invitation and giving such a wonderful, insightful session to all our participants over here. We look forward to having many more sessions with you in the future also. And we also would like to invite you to our campus. JGU is located in Sonipat, and with a beautiful campus, the passion definitely gets fumed up. And yes, there are many more reasons for the participants over here to be a part of a wonderful institution, which is also an institution of eminence now. So on that note, I would like to bid a goodbye to all of you for this evening. For more updates on the future masterclasses, please stay tuned on to our LinkedIn and Facebook updates. And we definitely would like to hear from you all. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Meenakshi.